the blood-soaked floor that changed everything. Rome, 44 BC. The marble floors of the Senate House are slick with blood. Julius Caesar, master of the known world, lies dead, 23 stab wounds marking where senators drove their daggers home. The conspirators stand over his corpse, daggers dripping, convinced they've saved the Republic. Marcus Brutus declares to the cowering crowd, "We have restored freedom to Rome." They had no idea they just handed absolute power to an 18-year-old boy named Gaius Octavius. What this teenager did next didn't just save a crumbling empire. He created a leadership system so sophisticated that it governed the civilized world for 4 centuries. His methods still shape how modern power operates today. But here's what will blow your mind. Octavius never called himself emperor. He never seized control through force. Instead, he convinced an entire civilization to willingly give him ultimate authority while believing they remained free citizens. The historian Tacitus wrote, "Augustus gradually increased his powers." But Tacitus missed the real genius. Augustus didn't grab power, he redesigned what power meant. Why this matters right now. Every day, you're witnessing the same transformation, and you're probably on the losing side. Look around your industry. The old guard, the republics of traditional business, corporate hierarchies, industrial age thinking, are dying. Like Rome's Senate, they still hold meetings, make proclamations, maintain ceremonies. But real influence has already shifted. While everyone fights over scraps of the old system, a select few are quietly doing what Augustus did. They're not competing within existing frameworks, they're building the new ones. They're creating personal brands while others perfect resumes. Building movements while others climb corporate ladders. Establishing fresh authority structures while others fight for outdated recognition. And just like Augustus, they're doing it so smoothly that most people don't realize what's happening until it's too late. The question isn't whether transformation is coming to your field, it's already here. The real question, will you become Augustus, or will you be one of those senators, standing over the corpse of the old system, thinking you've won? What you're about to discover. I'm going to reveal the complete Augustus method, the exact psychological and strategic blueprint that transformed a teenager into history's most powerful leader, and how you can adapt these principles to build unshakable authority in your domain. This isn't about manipulation or becoming a dictator. It's about understanding how genuine transformation occurs and positioning yourself as its architect rather than its victim. You'll master the Principate Strategy, how to accumulate massive influence while making others feel empowered. The Republican Façade, why maintaining familiar structures is crucial during transitions. The Gradual Ascension Protocol, how to build power so naturally that resistance becomes impossible. The Legacy Lock-in, how to embed your authority so deeply it survives even your absence. Most critically, you'll see exactly where your career sits in this transformation cycle and know precisely what to do about it. Phase 2. The 3ACT Transformation. Act 1. How Augustus actually did it. When Caesar died, Rome erupted into chaos. 3 men claimed his mantle: Mark Antony, Caesar's battle-tested lieutenant, Marcus Lepidus, his cavalry commander, and this unknown kid who claimed to be Caesar's heir. Everyone expected young Octavian to be crushed. He had 0 military experience, no political connections, no army. Smart money backed Antony. But Octavian understood something nobody else grasped. The Republic was already a corpse. Decades of corruption, civil wars, and political gridlock had exhausted the people. They craved stability but still wanted to feel like Romans, not subjects of a king. While Antony made grand speeches about restoring glory through conquest, and Lepidus tried buying loyalty with gold, Octavian did something radically different. He started solving problems. Not through dramatic gestures, but systematic. practical improvements. He reformed taxation to increase fairness, professionalized the military so soldiers had genuine careers, invested in infrastructure, entertainment, public services. Here's the masterstroke. He accomplished this while constantly deferring to the Senate. Called himself Princeps, first citizen, never emperor. Claimed he was merely serving the Republic during a temporary crisis. The Senate loved it. They kept their titles, ceremonies, sense of importance. Meanwhile, Octavian quietly assumed control of the military, treasury, and bureaucracy. Within 15 years, he wielded absolute power. But the transition felt so natural, so respectful of existing traditions, that nobody could identify the moment he'd seized anything. He'd simply become indispensable. When senators finally offered him the title Augustus, essentially crowning him emperor, it felt like recognizing what had already happened, not creating something revolutionary. Result: the Pax Romana. 2 centuries of unprecedented peace and prosperity. The longest stable period in Western civilization. Act 2. The Modern Casualty. Meet Jennifer, marketing director at a Fortune 500 company in 2019. Brilliant professional, 15 years experience, Northwestern MBA. Everything you'd want in traditional corporate leadership. When the pandemic forced everyone remote, Jennifer did what most senior people did. She focused on preserving existing systems. Zoom replicas of the same meetings. Digital versions of identical processes. She was the Senate, trying to keep the Republic functioning while the world transformed around her. Her junior colleague David took a different path. He started creating content. Internal newsletters first, then LinkedIn posts, eventually a weekly video series about marketing trends. Jennifer dismissed it as frivolous. "We need to focus on real work," she told her team, "not social media nonsense." But David grasped what Augustus understood. Old authority systems were collapsing. Traditional corporate hierarchies, where power flowed from titles and tenure, were yielding to something new. Influence based on visibility, expertise, and direct audience connection. While Jennifer defended her position within the existing structure, David built authority in the emerging one. By 2022, David had 50,000 LinkedIn followers. Companies contacted him directly. Conference organizers sought him as a speaker. Industry publications quoted his insights. Jennifer still held the higher title. David possessed the real influence. When layoffs struck in 2023, guess who was untouchable? David's personal brand made him indispensable. His network, reputation, and market connection meant firing him would be corporate suicide. Jennifer, despite her experience and track record, was deemed replaceable. She'd spent so much energy defending the old system that she'd become irrelevant in the new one. Last I heard, David had been promoted to vice president. Jennifer was still job hunting. Act 3. My personal awakening. I nearly made Jennifer's mistake. 4 years, I was the credentialed expert working within traditional frameworks. I had the degrees, experience, institutional backing. I focused on being the best player in the existing game. Then I noticed something disturbing. People with less experience but greater visible expertise were landing opportunities one wasn't. Speaking engagements, consulting contracts, lucrative partnerships went to them. Initially, I felt bitter. They don't know what I know, I thought. They haven't earned their stripes. Then I realized, I was thinking like a Roman senator, defending a system that was already being replaced. The new economy doesn't care about credentials, it cares about demonstrated value. It doesn't care about titles, it cares about influence. I faced 2 choices: Keep fighting for recognition within the old system, or start building authority in the new one. I chose the Augustus path. I began sharing my knowledge publicly. Small steps first, then bolder moves. I treated every piece of content not as marketing, but as governance, evidence of my ability to lead, solve problems, create value. The transformation wasn't instant. Like Augustus, I had to be patient, strategic, respectful of existing structures while quietly constructing new ones. But it worked. Today, opportunities seek me out because of the authority I've built, not the positions I've held. The Jennifers in my industry still scramble for scraps. The Davids are building empires. Which path will you choose? Phase 3. The harsh reality check. The ground is shifting under your feet. Here's what's keeping you awake at 3 a.m., even if you haven't admitted it yet. You sense the rules changing. The strategies that brought you this far won't take you further. But you're paralyzed because you can't identify what the new rules actually are. Maybe you've noticed the signs. Younger people securing opportunities you think you deserve. Influencers taken more seriously than experts. Companies choosing consultants based on social media presence rather than track records. Or maybe it's more personal. You excel at your craft, but feel invisible. You possess deep knowledge and experience, yet nobody seeks your opinion. You watch people with less expertise build bigger platforms, and you can't understand how. Here's the brutal truth nobody wants to tell you. You're living through the fall of the Republic. Every industry, profession, and field is experiencing Rome's transformation. Old authority systems, credentials, tenure, institutional backing, are dying. New systems based on visibility, direct value creation, and personal connection are taking over. Just like in Rome, most people completely miss what's happening. They're still fighting yesterday's wars, playing by outdated rules, waiting for obsolete institutions to validate their worth. Meanwhile, real power consolidates around people who understand the new game. The terrifying part? This transformation accelerates. What took Augustus 15 years now happens in 15 months. Your window to position yourself correctly is closing fast. You can keep hoping the old system returns. Keep believing quality work speaks for itself, that credentials matter, that traditional rule following eventually pays off. Or you can face reality. Those beliefs are keeping you trapped while others construct the future around you. Why I'm the one to tell you this? Because I've lived through this transformation across multiple industries. I've experienced both sides, trying to succeed within dying systems, then learning to build authority in emerging ones. More importantly, I've studied this pattern obsessively. Not just Augustus, but every major transformation in business, politics, technology, culture. I've identified the common patterns, predictable stages, reliable strategies that work regardless of your specific field. I've guided executives, entrepreneurs, consultants, and experts across dozens of industries. I know who thrives during these transitions and who gets abandoned. I understand what works sustainably versus what's just noise. But most crucially, I grasp something most personal branding experts miss. This isn't about becoming an influencer or chasing fame. This is about survival and evolution in a changing world. This is about becoming Augustus in your domain, building genuine, lasting authority that doesn't depend on anyone else's permission or recognition. The complete Augustus method. 5 core principles. Principle 1. The Principate Strategy. Never appear power-hungry. Position yourself as solving problems and serving others. Augustus called himself first citizen, not emperor. Your authority should feel like natural leadership, not self-promotion. Principle 2. The Republican Façade respect existing structures while quietly constructing alternatives. Don't attack the old system, work within it while creating new options. Make your rise feel inevitable, not revolutionary. Principle 3. The gradual ascension protocol. Build influence systematically over time. Each step should feel natural and earned. If people can pinpoint when you suddenly became powerful, you've moved too fast. Principle 4. The value monopolization. Become indispensable by controlling something essential. Augustus controlled military and treasury. You need to control information, relationships, or capabilities others depend on. Principle 5. The legacy lock-in. Construct systems that perpetuate your authority without active involvement. Create frameworks, develop disciples, establish standards that embed your influence permanently. Phase 4. The mastery levels. The 5 stages of authority evolution. Level 1. The invisible expert. You're skilled at what you do, maybe even exceptional, but nobody knows it. You're waiting for work to speak for itself, believing merit alone determines success. Symptoms. You have expertise but no audience. You're frustrated that less qualified people get more recognition. You think self-promotion is beneath you. You're waiting for someone to discover your talent. Level 1 thinking, if I just do excellent work, people will notice. Reality. In a noisy world, invisible expertise is worthless. Level 2. The content creator. You've realized visibility matters, so you start producing content. But you're focused on tactics without strategy, posting regularly but not building systematically. Symptoms. You're active on social media but growth crawls. You create content without clear positioning. You chase engagement instead of building authority. Your content reacts to trends rather than setting them. Level 2 thinking, I need to post more and get more followers. Reality. Without strategic positioning, content creation is just noise. Level 3. The positioned authority. You've developed clear positioning and consistent messaging. People know what you represent. You're building reputation in your niche. Symptoms. You have a distinct point of view that differentiates you. Your content consistently reinforces your positioning. People begin associating you with specific topics. You're getting invited to join conversations. Level 3 thinking, I'm building my reputation in my field. Reality. You're constructing authority, but it still depends on external validation. Level 4. The system builder. You're not just sharing opinions. You're creating frameworks, methodologies, systems that others adopt. Your ideas have momentum beyond your personal brand. Symptoms. You've created original frameworks or methodologies. Other people reference and teach your concepts. You're influencing how people think about problems. Your authority becomes self-reinforcing. Level 4 thinking, I'm changing how people approach these challenges. Reality. You're building lasting influence, but haven't achieved complete independence yet. Level 5. The Augustus. You've become the definitive authority in your domain. Your frameworks are industry standard. Your opinion shapes markets. Your authority is independent of any platform or institution. Symptoms. You're the first person people think of for your domain. Your methodologies are widely adopted and taught. You influence industry direction and standards. Your authority survives changes in platforms or markets. Level 5 thinking, I define the standards in this field. Reality. You've achieved true authority independence. What level 5 actually looks like. Clayton Christensen didn't just write about business strategy. He created disruptive innovation, the dominant framework for understanding market change. Every business school teaches his model. Every consultant references his work. His authority transcended Harvard, consulting firms, or any specific platform. Marie Kondo didn't just teach organizing. She developed the KonMari method that redefined how people think about possessions. Her framework became so embedded in culture that spark joy entered everyday language. Tim Ferriss didn't just write productivity books. He created lifestyle design and pioneered the interview format that became the template for thousands of podcasts. His approaches to experimentation and optimization became standard methodology. These people didn't just build personal brands. They constructed intellectual frameworks independent of their personal involvement. They achieved what Augustus achieved, authority embedded in the system itself. Your implementation roadmap. Moving from level 1 to level 2. Start documenting your expertise publicly. Choose one primary platform for consistency. Commit to regular content creation, minimum weekly. Focus on sharing insights, not selling services. Moving from level 2 to level 3. Develop a clear, contrarian point of view. Create consistent messaging around 2 to 3 core themes. Begin developing your unique terminology and concepts. Build relationships with other authorities in your field. Moving from level 3 to level 4. Create comprehensive frameworks or methodologies. Teach others to use your approaches. Document case studies of your methods working. Begin speaking and training on your concepts. Moving from level 4 to level 5. Influence industry standards and practices. Create disciples who spread your methodologies. Build systems that operate independently of your direct involvement. Establish yourself as the definitive source in your domain. The real cost of transformation. Let me be brutally honest about what this actually requires. Time investment. You're looking at 5 to 10 hours weekly, minimum, for years. This isn't a casual side project. Psychological toll. You'll face criticism, imposter syndrome, constant pressure to prove yourself. Most people quit when they realize how exposed this makes them. Relationship changes. Some colleagues will resent your growing authority. Friends won't understand why you're always working. Your professional relationships will fundamentally shift. Financial reality. Building authority often means short-term financial sacrifice for long-term gain. You might decline immediate opportunities to construct something bigger. Platform dependency. You'll rely on platforms and systems you don't control. Algorithm changes, policy shifts, or market movements can destroy years of work overnight. Maintenance burden. Authority requires constant feeding. You can't set it and forget it. The moment you stop nurturing the system, it begins dying. Success pressure. The more authority you build, the higher expectations become. Every mistake gets magnified. Every opinion gets scrutinized. Your 3 choices. Option 1. Stay at level 1. Keep doing excellent work and hoping someone notices. Accept that your expertise will remain hidden. Watch others build the authority you could have constructed. Option 2. Attempt the transformation without a framework. Start creating content randomly. Chase tactics without strategy. Probably burn out and quit within 6 months. Option 3. Commit to the Augustus method. Accept the costs. Follow the system. Methodically build unshakable authority in your field over the next 2 to 5 years. There's no wrong choice, but there are consequences to each. The question isn't whether you're capable of this. The question is whether you're willing to pay the price for the transformation you want. Phase 5. Your transformation is complete. Advanced application in action. Let me show you what mastery looks like. In 2023, I consulted with a tech startup struggling with positioning. The founders were brilliant engineers, but couldn't get investor attention. Their product was innovative, yet they couldn't break through the noise. I could have given standard advice: improve pitch decks, refine messaging, network more effectively. Instead, I applied the Augustus method. "You're thinking like Roman senators," I told them. "You're trying to get recognized within the existing system. Traditional VC world, standard startup playbook, conventional wisdom about product market fit. But the system is changing. Investors who matter aren't just examining your metrics. They're evaluating your authority. They want to back people who are shaping conversations, not just participating in them." So we didn't just fix their pitch. We transformed them into authorities. Instead of chasing investors, we positioned them as experts on their particular problem. Instead of requesting meetings, we created content that made investors want to meet them. Instead of competing for attention, we made attention come to them. Within 6 months, they'd raised their Series A. Not because their product fundamentally changed, but because their authority fundamentally changed. The lead investor later said, "We invest in people who will define the future of their category." After following your content for months, it was clear you were already doing that. That's level 5 in action. You don't chase opportunities. Opportunities chase you. You don't request recognition. Recognition becomes inevitable. You don't compete for authority. You define what authority means. You are already different. Notice something: your thinking has already shifted. When you started reading, you probably thought authority was something that happened to other people. Something requiring special circumstances, connections, or talents you lack. Now you understand authority follows predictable patterns. You can see the framework. You recognize the stages. You know the principles. You're already analyzing content differently. You're distinguishing who's building real authority versus who's making noise. You're recognizing Augustus strategies when you see them. You're examining your field with new eyes. You can identify who's playing by old rules and who's constructing power in the new system. You're spotting opportunities that were previously invisible. Most importantly, you're thinking strategically about your own positioning. You're not just consuming information, you're evaluating applications. That shift in thinking is the first and most crucial transformation. You've moved from seeing authority as mysterious and random to understanding it as systematic and achievable. Your new identity. You're not the same person who began this journey. You were someone hoping to be recognized for expertise someday. Now you're someone who understands exactly how recognition works and what achieving it requires. You were someone frustrated by others' success. Now you're someone who can analyze that success and replicate it. You were someone who thought the game was rigged. Now you're someone who understands the rules and can play to win. You were someone who waited for opportunities. Now you're someone who creates them. This isn't just information you've absorbed, it's a new way of seeing reality. You can't unsee these patterns now. You can't return to thinking about authority the way you did before. You are now someone who thinks strategically about influence. Someone who sees systems instead of just events. Someone who builds instead of merely hoping. Your future awaits. Picture yourself 2 years from now. You've implemented the Augustus method systematically. You've progressed through the levels deliberately, patiently, strategically. Your phone buzzes with opportunities you didn't chase. Conference organizers reach out to you. Companies want to hire you not just for expertise, but for reputation. Journalists quote you. Competitors study your moves. You don't worry about algorithm changes or platform policies because your authority spans multiple channels and is embedded in your industry's thinking. You don't compete for attention because you've created your own category. People don't compare you to others, they compare others to you. Most importantly, you have the freedom that comes with true authority. Freedom to choose projects, clients, schedule. Freedom to decline opportunities that don't align with your vision. Freedom to take risks because your reputation can survive them. This isn't fantasy. This is the predictable result of applying these principles consistently over time. The version of yourself that exists 2 years from now is already looking back at this moment as the turning point. The moment you stopped hoping for recognition and started building authority. The authority transfer. You now possess everything necessary. You understand the historical precedent. You know modern applications. You have the complete framework. You can see the levels and know where you stand. You understand the costs and have made your choice. What you do with this knowledge is entirely up to you. But remember, Augustus didn't become Augustus by studying strategy. He became Augustus by implementing it. The method is yours now. Use it wisely. Build your Principate. Create your legacy. Become the authority your field needs. The Republic is falling. The Empire awaits your construction. Welcome to your reign.